This is a breaking news alert. Donald Trump's so-called reciprocal tariffs against the world have just been declared unlawful by the United States Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit in a 7-4 decision. This was a ruling by what's called an en banc panel, meaning all of the judges that comprise the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit participated in this ruling. 7 of the judges ruled against Donald Trump, 4 ruled in favor, but that 7-4 vote means that Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs against the world, as he calls them, are hereby declared unlawful. Now, the court withheld issuing its mandate until October 14th. What that means is that they've given him time to appeal their ruling to the United States Supreme Court. The unlawful tariffs thus remain in effect until October 14th, but we now have that definitive ruling by this Court of Appeals. We've been waiting on that ruling since the Court of International Trade first declared the reciprocal tariffs unlawful. We now have a ruling, though, that these tariffs are hereby declared unlawful. Now, you will recall that Donald Trump tried to invoke a law known as the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA, IEEPA, and Trump claimed that there was a national emergency against every single country in the world. Thus, that's why he needed to implement these so-called reciprocal tariffs. In the 7-4 ruling, this Court of Appeals said that the IEEPA does not allow the President of the United States to affirmatively issue tariffs. It provides for sanctioning foreign countries or engaging in other economic reprisals against other countries, but not the power to tariff. I'd like to go through this ruling with you like we do here on the Midas Touch Network, where we do it in a very detailed fashion. It was a 129-page order, right around there. I've read the entire order right now, but I want to go through some of the key points so we can understand this order together, declaring Donald Trump's tariffs against the world, these so-called reciprocal tariffs made via 5 executive orders, are hereby declared unlawful by this Court of Appeals. So let's go through this order together. It says the government appeals, Trump appeals a decision of the Court of International Trade, that was like the trial court, setting aside 5 executive orders that impose tariffs of unlimited duration on nearly all goods from nearly every country in the world, holding that the tariffs were not authorized by the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA, 50 U.S.C. Section 1701. Because we agree, meaning the Court of Appeals, we agree that IEEPA's grant of presidential authority to regulate imports does not authorize the tariffs imposed by the executive orders, we affirm. IEEPA does not allow what Trump did via executive order. We hereby affirm the lower court's ruling that these tariffs are unlawful, and they give until October 15th for Trump to file an appeal before the United States Supreme Court. I want to go through more of the history that they outline in this order, but let's go to the meat of it first, where the court does what's called a statutory interpretation, and here's why they say IEEPA does not give Donald Trump the authority here to do what he did. Let's go to page 26 and 27. The court says, we must first consider the statutory text, including any relevant canons of interpretation. What that means is, how should we interpret the statute here? It goes on to say, IEEPA, that's again the emergency statute that Donald Trump used, authorizes the president to take certain actions in response to a declared national emergency arising from...
Good evening, this is Elder G again. You see what happened? The appeal court said that the reciprocal tariffs that Donald Trump put on is illegal. And you see what the radical Republicans are doing? Now, think about this. Congress is the one that wrote the law. So Congress know exactly what the law says. But Congress was going with the dictator. The Republicans in the House and Mike Johnson They decided to help the president overthrow the Constitution. They did the same thing on January 6th. Congress is the one that wrote the rules what a tariff is. So you knew that Mike Johnson them and the leader in the Senate, like Mitch McConnell, that's been there forever, that they know exactly what the rules is. So that proves to you beyond a shadow of a doubt. See, the Congress is the one that checked the president, that keep the president within the Constitution. And the Supreme Court, when they gave Donald Trump absolutely immunity, he can do whatever he wants. 45 presidents didn't have that. Why is it so much important that Donald Trump have it? You see, you see the coup, right? I mean, black people love this country. We're the only one in this country that's slaves. Ain't nobody gonna have more experience about somebody treating somebody unfairly than blacks. We've been in slavery. They made us build the Capitol and the White House and all that for free. We had to eat the scrap food. And they didn't want to pay us nothing. They wanted to treat us like animals. And Congress noted all the time. Congress is the one that wrote the rule that hid stuff that will benefit them later on if they end up being the majority. Now, if you knock out the tariff, just think about all those billions and billions of dollars. Over $250 million on alligator Alcatraz that the court said is illegal and unconstitutional, and they shutting it down. They shutting down the tariff. They shutting down alligator Alcatraz, all because Trump and the MAGA Republicans in the House and the Senate and in the Supreme Court don't believe that black and brown people have the same rights. America, if you can't see now with these racist people that's in the House of Representatives led by Mike Johnson and in the Senate that went along with an illegal act that they wrote, they knew exactly what the rules and regulations are, but they chose to go with the evil one instead of going with the Constitution. It's just a shame. It's just a shame because the black and brown people is supposed to be ignorant. And come to find out, it finally came out that black and brown people is not ignorant. When you're going to make a law that says that black people can't read, if you got a law that's saying black people can't arm themselves, and black people can't go to school to learn stuff, and then you're going to turn around and say they ignorant, and then you're going to try to hide the law where you prevent them from having weapons. You prevent them from reading and prosper. And every time we build something up, they come in and burn it down. Like Black Wall Street, burnt down. Look at all the things that black people invented that they took credit for. The chickens have finally come home to roost. That's all I want to say this evening. Bye-bye.